So you were in emergency medicine for a bit, and then you transitioned?
I worked in the emergency departments in mostly in Austin and Tucson for about 10 years. And then in 2013, I have 3 kids. I'd had 3 kids within 2 years, and my husband had moved out of state, taking care of these kids by myself. I was working in the ER and getting up at like 4 in the morning to go to work every day.
Jeez.
And I was looking out at like all these people waiting to be seen in the ER. And I just realized that if I didn't get my act together, I was going to be those people in 5 years.
All right, guys, got Dr. Amy Killen here today. We're going to talk stem cells.
Yay!
Fun topic. And you do it in the US, which is unique.
I do, yes.
I get a lot of people messaging me from other countries to get them, but I haven't seen any in the US.
Yeah, we can do them. We just have some limitations. We can't do quite the same things that you can do out of the country.
Got it. I'm sure you get a ton of athletes, people looking to recover, right?
We get some athletes. We get a lot of kind of biohackers and people who are just really into, health and wellness. And then we also get people who just have injuries or have, I do a lot with skin and sexual health. So I get a lot of people who just have issues and they want some help and they don't want to travel too far away.
So what skin problems can stem cells help with?
Just general aging. So we can increase collagen production as well as elastin and hyaluronic acid. So helping with structure of your skin and hydration and, fine lines and things like that. So just really improving skin quality as you get older and also helping to prevent some of the aging that happens as well.
Is it true the body stops producing collagen after 25?
It slows way down. Yeah, your production goes after 25. It's just a slow road to no collagen.
That's pretty young to start dropping drastically at 25.
And we also see increased breakdown of collagen, as you get older because you have more exposure to the sun, you have more exposure to environmental toxins and, things like that. So you're making less and you're also breaking down more. So it's this two-pronged thing. It's bad.
Yeah. So do you advise people to take collagen supplements then?
I do like collagen. I think it can be helpful. There are some studies that have some pretty good results. I think that the main things are making sure that you're avoiding the sun, at least in the areas where you are worried about, sun. I like the sun in general. I think it's great. But if you're worried about skin aging, like on your face, the sun isn't great for that.
That's why when you see people in Florida or like beach towns, they look old. Their skin looks super wrinkly. And
the sun is, it's one of these things where it has so many benefits, and we definitely don't want to stay out of the sun completely. And there's a study in Sweden that showed that people who stayed out of the sun had significantly increased risk of just dying in general. And it was on par with smoking cigarettes.
Holy crap.
And so those who were really avoiding the sun, you're increasing your risk of, diabetes and obesity and multiple cancers and all of these things because the sun does have benefits. However, it also causes rapid aging of the skin, especially in your face and neck. And of course, skin cancer is possible as well.
Yeah. I just got my blood results back. My vitamin D3 was low. And one of the doctors told me, Dr. Sean O'Mara, told me to get sunlight.
Oh, I love Sean. Yes, the visceral fat guy.
Oh, he scared the shit out of me with my MRI results too.
Yeah.
He knows his stuff though.
He does. And he talks a lot about that. It's really important. I think visceral fat is really important, and he's great at that.
Yeah. I had a ton. He showed me his chart compared to mine, and he's 61. His was way better than mine. I was like, wow.
Yeah, he's very impressive.
Super impressive. And then I saw Brian Johnson's post on sunlight. So he only does it in the morning and late afternoon. Because he said when the UV ray is above 3 or something, it's damaging to the skin.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you could just kind of everything in moderation, right? Like I like a little sun on my body. I think it feels great. It's great for your mood. It's great for increasing nitric oxide, which is good for blood flow. There's all kinds of hormonal benefits, but at the same time, you don't want to get too much or your skin will start to age more quickly.
Yeah. How damaging are these beauty products and like body washes and deodorants on the skin?
I think you got to be careful for sure. There's a lot of chemicals, and if there are fragrances in there, artificial fragrances, there's likely to be chemicals. There's oftentimes endocrine disrupting chemicals everywhere in the environment, certainly in beauty products, but also just everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think that going for more clean brands, more healthy brands is definitely a good idea if you could do it.
Do you do any lasers?
Yeah, we do some different lasers. To get rid of sunspots, to help with fine lines and wrinkles.
Yeah.
I think that lasers can be really beneficial in combination. You can do stem cells for skin health. You can do lasers for skin tightening, as well as other things like pigment. You can do obviously surgeries as well, of course. But there's all different ways to treat your skin, and they all do different things.
Yeah, I've done it twice.
Yeah.
Definitely helped.
Yeah.
I had some big hyperpigmentation because I never wore sunscreen growing up. I was that cool kid or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was an outdoor runner, and I thought it was cool not to wear it.
Yeah.
And I had so much sun damage on my face.
The first time I have ever had an IPL, which is the kind of laser that you did probably.
Yeah.
I'd been on a month-long backpacking trip in the Wind River Range in Wyoming. So we were backpacking for a month.
Wow.
With carrying like these 80-pound backpacks. It was ridiculous.
Jeez.
But, yeah, it was too much. But it was fun. But I came back with just...
All right, guys, shout out to LinkedIn, today's sponsor. As a B2B marketer, you know how noisy the ad space can be. If your message isn't targeted to the right audience, it just disappears into the noise. Luckily, with LinkedIn ads, you could precisely reach the professionals who are more likely to find your ad relevant. With LinkedIn's targeting capabilities, you can reach them by job title, industry, company, and more. Stand out with LinkedIn ads and start converting your B2B audience into high-quality leads today. LinkedIn ads allows you to build the right relationships, drive results, and reach your customers in a respectful environment. You'll have direct access and build relationships with decision makers. There's over 1 billion members on their platform, 180 million senior level executives and 10 million C-level executives. You'll be able to drive results with targeting and measurement tools built specifically for B2B. In technology, LinkedIn generated 2 to 5x higher return on ad spend than other social media platforms. You'll work with a partner who respects the B2B world you operate in. 79% of their content marketers said LinkedIn produces the best results for paid media. Me personally, I've found some great podcast guests, and it's been an incredible platform for finding out new information. Start converting your B2B audience into high-quality leads today. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/social to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/social. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be.
so much sun damage. Like my whole face was like, it was like a different, I was like spotted.
Yeah.
Like a leopard. And so, yeah, I did an IPL and my skin just completely sloughed off. And it was the most dramatic thing I've ever seen from a laser. It was my very first time. And since then it hasn't been as dramatic, but I do think they're great.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
What's the science behind it? Is it just your skin healing over the bad skin?
It's basically, it pulls the pigment out of the skin. So it's actually going straight to the pigment. It pulls it out, and then you kind of are able to slough it off, and you get new skin growth underneath it.
That's cool. A month in Wyoming. What animals were you seeing out there?
We saw everything. We saw bears. We saw bison. We saw, we saw all kinds of animals, and we had to go over like really some pretty serious mountain passes and go in the snow. And it was the hardest thing I'd ever done up to that point in my life.
That sounds really difficult.
Yeah.
Any moments where the animals got vicious?
The animals did not get too vicious. I think it was more like our own internal like psyche that was vicious. Like I remember like halfway in sitting on a stream, like I was like washing out my underwear because you only have like one pair.
Oh, that's it?
Like keep washing. Yeah, because you're carrying like everything on your back for an entire month. And so you don't have a lot of stuff. And so I'm washing out my clothes, and I'm being attacked by mosquitoes because they're everywhere and you can't get away from them. I had these huge bruises on my hips and on my shoulders for my backpack was so big, and I was fairly small. Anyway, I just started bawling, and I'm not a crier. Like I'm not someone who cries usually. And I was like, why am I crying? Like what's going on? But I think, you're out in the elements the entire time. It's hard every single day. And you just learn like what you can do.
Were you solo?
No, we had a group of, there was like 20 of us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a whole group, and we were all doing the whole thing together.
And what sparked this? Did you want a spiritual awakening or something?
I had just finished college, and I was going to be going to medical school, and I just wanted to do something. I worked at Yellowstone National Park during college a few times, like for the summers. I worked for summers there, so I got into backpacking and outdoor activities, and just thought it'd be fun to push myself and learn something different. So
Yellowstone is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
That was one of my favorite childhood trips.
It's a great job. If you're a young person looking for a job, go get a job at Yellowstone or any of the national park. There's so many fun jobs. You can spend the whole weekend, the whole summer there, and it's super fun.
I love it. So you were in emergency medicine for a bit, and then you transitioned?
Yeah, I did my residency in ER, so that's a 3-year residency, and then I worked in the emergency departments in mostly in Austin and Tucson for about 10 years, and then in 2013, I have 3 kids, and I'd had 3 kids within 2 years, and my husband had moved out of state for a job. So I had like twins.
I'm trying to do the math.
Like, how does this work? I had twins plus 1, and they were all under 2 for a while. And then my husband had moved out of state for a job. And so I was basically like, I was taking care of these kids by myself. I was working in the ER and getting up at like 4 a.m. to go to work every day.
Jeez.
And as you might imagine, not sleeping well, not eating well, not exercising, kind of like about to lose my mind. And I realized I would go to work, and it was, I was kind of not doing well. And I remember one day I showed up at the office, the ER, and I was looking out at like all these people waiting to be seen in the ER. They've had heart attacks and strokes and all these chronic medical conditions. And I just realized that if I didn't get my act together, I was going to be those people in 5 years
Wow.
or 10 years. Like I was going to be on the other side with a chronic medical condition that I could have prevented if I'd had the education and the wherewithal to do that.
Yeah.
So I just made the switch to learning more about how do we prevent disease versus just treat it.
The holistic route, right?
Yeah.
They don't teach you that in med school.
Not the one I went to. I went to a traditional medical school and, I'm a medical doctor, so we didn't get too much of that.
I hope they start offering it though in classes. That'd be really cool to see.
We're seeing more lifestyle medicine being offered. It's still not enough, but there's a lot that there is not taught. They don't talk about hormones that much outside of just basic endocrinology, which is super important as you get older.
Right.
And I focus a lot on hormones in my practice. There's a lot of things that they don't teach that you have to just learn on your own as you get going.
Yeah. What problems are you seeing with hormones right now with your patients?
So I treat a lot of men and women in their 35 to 55 year range. So in women, perimenopause, menopause, and men, andropause, which is, testosterone declining. So we see a lot of just all the things that go along with those hormonal changes that can be fixed or at least changed with whether, lifestyle, supplements, and medications.
I'm at a 572 testosterone. You think that's good for my age?
The main question is what's your free testosterone?
I'd have to look it up.
So free testosterone is the active form testosterone, and it's not bound to protein, meaning that it can be active in your body. So you could have, your kind of middle range for your total testosterone. So it definitely could be higher. But what I would look at more closely is if free testosterone is, in the upper end of the range or in the lower end, and you really want that to be in the upper end of the range.
Got it. So that one's more important than the overall.
That's more important because it's telling you what's actually active in your body.
Okay. Yeah, I need to look at that one then. Yeah, I just got a blood test.
Yeah.
Which those are kind of controversial. I'm a fan of them. I get them every year.
Yeah.
Some people say what you eat affects it. I don't know.
No, I like blood tests. I think blood tests are great and they're good tests for hormones. It's, it doesn't tell you everything, but it tells you a lot. And it's a good way to know, from year to year or every 6 months or whatever, how you're doing. And if you can see big changes, then you got to make a change yourself.
Yeah. What do you think about people injecting hormones?
I think that there's some good, testosterone, is injected. It's great. Men do it traditionally, but women can do it as well, just at a lower dose. Women usually get about 1/10 of the dose that men get for testosterone. And there's no FDA approved testosterone for women.
Wow.
So even though women have more testosterone in their bodies than they do estrogen, there's still no FDA approved testosterone for women. So we have to basically steal, men's testosterone and use it in women at lower doses.
I wonder why that hasn't passed yet. That's weird.
I don't know. It's I don't know. There's a lot of questions about why it hasn't passed yet, but we're able to prescribe it as doctors, but we just have to know how to dose, the testosterone that's already out there.
Yeah. So I know testosterone's dropping as men. Are women having issues with estrogen levels right now?
Estrogen levels aren't so much changing, but we do see, there are some changes in when girls start their periods has changed a little bit. We're certainly seeing exogenous estrogens out in the world that are affecting other hormones. I don't know that anyone's looked at, things like are the actual levels, during perimenopause and before that changing as much as are people having symptoms from other things in the environment.
Yeah. Because I know microplastics are affecting the testosterone, right?
Yeah, they're affecting everything.
Yeah,
you probably saw the study where they found them in the atherosclerotic plaque in the arteries now.
Yeah, and the testicles.
And the testes that
Crazy.
just came out. They're everywhere.
And the heart too.
Yeah.
Had a heart surgeon.
My brother is a hydrologist, so he works for the U.S. Geological Survey. He's a hydrologist, and for a decade, he's been doing these water samples all over the world, all over the place, especially in very remote creeks and rivers and things. And he's been telling me for 10 years, Amy, there's all this plastic in our rivers, in remote parts of Wyoming and Montana and places where it really shouldn't be. And so he's been forever, been an advocate of being very careful and filtering water and not using all these products. But it's taking it a little while for everybody else to catch on.
You probably thought he was crazy 20 years ago.
I did. I was like, that's fine. And now I'm like, oh wait, you're right.
Damn. I wonder if there's a fix or if we're just in too deep.
I don't know. I think that we're in pretty deep.
Yeah.
Actually.
You got to be really careful what water you drink these days, actually. It can really impact your health.
Yeah. Yep.
Scary stuff. What about exosomes? What are those?
So exosomes are, I call them little messenger bubbles that are the way that stem cells communicate with other cells. So, with stem cell therapies, what we're doing is we're taking stem cells either from someone else or from yourself and putting them somewhere else in your body. And we're trying to get your own cells to become more active and to act like more youthful cells. That's kind of how stem cell therapies work. And so the exosomes are one of the ways stem cells communicate with other cells. They're like these little bubbles of information. So we can actually just use exosomes instead of actual cells in some cases to have the same benefits as stem cells, but without having to actually give you someone else's cells or DNA.
Got it. That would interest me more because I'm pretty spiritual. I don't know if I want someone else's DNA in my body.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you'd still be getting their messenger RNA and you'd still be getting their, like their growth factors and cytokines and things like that. But the exosomes are interesting because they're very, very small and they can cross the blood-brain barrier. So you can give exosomes in your, IV in your vein, and they actually can get into your brain without having to do anything special.
Wow.
They can get through the skin. So you can actually give them topically as like a lotion, and they can eventually, after like 20 hours, get in through your skin barriers. So they have some benefits over stem cells in that they're just much more versatile and they're much smaller. And I think eventually we'll see a lot more of these sort of over-the-counter exosome products available to consumers at a lower cost than stem cells.
I wonder if stem cells would help with brain injuries because I just got a brain scan at Amen Clinics and I had a TBI.
Yes. Exosomes is what I'd recommend.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And I'm not a brain specialist, but there's a lot of research looking at giving exosomes IV after concussions or any kind of TBI. They've done research in spinal cord injuries and all kinds of things. And again, because they cross the blood-brain barrier, you don't have to do anything fancy. You just have to give them in your IV. And when you have an injury, that the injury sends out like this response in your body that's like kind of like a homing response. It's like alert that tells the stem cells or exosomes to come to that area.
Wow.
And so it's very interesting. But so essentially, I would, if I had a head injury, I would absolutely get exosomes afterwards.
I need to look into that.
Yeah.
That is cool. I didn't know the body was that smart where it could just direct it wherever it needs to go.
Super smart. Yep.
Yeah. Now you said you specialize on the sexual health side, right?
I do a lot of sexual health. Yes.
So how do stem cells help with the sex life?
So I inject stem cells and exosomes directly into the penis and into the clitoris and the anterior kind of top part of the vaginal wall. So in both men and women, I use them.
And what does that do exactly?
So they do the same things as I do anywhere else. You're increasing blood flow, so increasing blood vessel formations, and you're decreasing inflammation, you're increasing repair of the tissue itself. So if you need more collagen, if you need more, more elastic smooth muscle cells, kind of whatever has happened throughout aging or injury, could potentially be repaired with stem cells and exosomes. So for men, for instance, we see improvement in quality erections, ability to get erections. We see improvement in sensitivity, and the same kinds of things with women, just more pleasure, ability to reach orgasm easier, things like that.
So you could fix erectile dysfunction.
Well, I mean, sometimes, not always, unfortunately, but like I use stem cells in combination with something like shockwave therapy. In men is amazing. It's a device that just applies high intensity pressure waves or sound waves to the penis. And it is incredible at increasing and improving erectile dysfunction if it's not too bad. So we use that in combination. Yeah. That is like, you can do it as an out, you just walk in and walk out. It's a 30-minute thing. You go to a clinic. It's super easy and it's extremely low risk. So when you combine things like optimizing testosterone, shockwave therapy, stem cells or exosomes, healthy lifestyle, all of that together, then we can do a lot of good.
That's interesting. Is shockwave therapy the same thing as PEMF?
No.
Okay. Because I got that done the other day on my back.
Yeah. No, that's a pulse electromagnetic field therapy. That's a different technology. Shockwave therapy is similar to lithotripsy, which which we still use to break up kidney stones. But it's a less powerful version of that. And it's been around for decades.
Got it.
Yeah. It's really great.
I didn't know you could break up kidney stones in the body.
You can. I mean, you can't, but a doctor can do it.
Oh, wow.
No, I wouldn't do it either, but a doctor can do it.
I always thought you had to pee it out or something.
Yeah. If they're really big, then they'll break them up with like a laser or, it's a lithotripsy from the outside so that you can actually pee them out.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember my friend. Oh, I'm not even going to tell that story. I never had one, knock on wood, right?
They're very painful.
Yeah, I bet. Jeez. Any other like holistic things you do, like light therapy or anything?
Yeah, I'll do a lot of red light therapy, for full body red light therapy. I also, like for women, for instance, I use intravaginal red light therapy for sexual health.
Inside?
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that.
There's some home devices that are great. They're wellness devices. Like there's one called VFit Plus that you can just buy over the counter, and it's increasing the same kind of thing. It's increasing mitochondrial energy production. It can help with lubrication and sensation and all kinds of things. And so there's some tricks like that are kind of fun ways to combine, wellness things with actual medicine.
Yeah, that is cool. I didn't know you could get in there and heal everything from inside. That's some next level stuff though, because red light is very healing.
It is. It's
I do it like 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Feel great.
And I just did a post about this. There was a study recently with red light that if you just do a 15-minute red light session on your back, like a 670 nanometer red light for 15 minutes. And then you do a glucose tolerance test later, like an hour later, where you drink glucose and then you check your blood sugar every little bit. There was a 27% reduction in blood sugar seen in the people who did the red light versus the placebo group.
Holy crap.
Just from doing red light for 15 minutes. So there's some crazy things about it that we're just now learning.
That's exciting. And my glucose was a little high on my blood test. So I'm going to do more red light now that you said that.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I know you got 3 companies. I'd love to go through these. One of them's called HOP.
Yeah, HOP. HOP stands for Human Optimization Project. We just call it HOP. And that is my longevity supplement company that we have a box called HOP Box. It's kind of like your longevity stack in a pack. So it's like everything you need in a pack that you just take, once or twice a day. And it makes it super easy to take the things that you want to take to help kind of combat the drivers of aging.
I'll check that out. So right now I'm on Brian Johnson's, but I'm disappointed with one ingredient. If you're watching this, Brian.
Uh-oh.
You use natural flavors.
Oh.
I don't know how bad that is. There's probably worse ingredients, but...
Do you know what the natural flavors are?
So it's a powdered drink that has a bunch of longevity stuff in it, and it's orange flavored or something. Okay. So I guess it's that.
Okay.
But I was disappointed. With Brian Johnson, I mean, that dude does his research. Yeah, he's using natural flavors.
He's got a lot of stuff. I haven't used his products yet, but I think he's an interesting guy.
I bought his olive oil. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should try that.
Okay. Yeah.
But you feel really full after, because I don't know what he does to it.
Olive oil in general. When I was getting ready for my wedding years ago, I decided to go. There's a diet called the Shangri-La diet. I don't know. I read a book about it. And I'm not recommending it necessarily, but the idea was that you drink a tablespoon of olive oil 3 times a day, not with food and not with a drink, just with water, and that's it. And you can't have any other food around it for like an hour. And I did that. It was horrible, but I lost tons of weight.
Really?
Yes.
From olive oil.
I think you're just not hungry the rest of the time because it fills you up.
There's
other benefits to it as well. But I was surprised. I was like, this will never work. And then it did. So.
Wow. You don't look like you need to lose weight right now, though.
Well, thank you. This is a while back. I was a little bit heavier.
So you had a chubby face?
I was a little chubby after college, yeah.
Yeah. I never had one. I'm blessed. My thyroid is like the opposite issue of most people.
Yeah.
I process so quick.
That's good.
It's good and bad.
That'll serve you well when you get older, though.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully. Second company, Humanot Health.
Yeah, Humanot is a longevity clinic that we're going to be opening in. The first one's going to be in Austin this summer. And we have plans to go to 2 more cities in Texas by the end of the year. And then, ultimately the goal is to have 100 locations in 2 years.
Wow, that's fast.
Yeah. So I'm the co-founder. I'm a chief medical officer for that. So figuring out all the protocols and how do we use hormones and peptides and stem cells and, functional medicine as well as traditional diagnostics and advanced diagnostics. And how do we put it together? And then how do we scale that to 100 clinics? That's the goal.
I love that. I can't wait to see it. I'll be in Austin this year, so I'll stop by for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think longevity centers are going to be really popular as more people are getting into their health.
Yeah, there's a lot of people working in this field to make this, using technology, using, of course, AI and other tools to start to be able to think about not doing this just for a few people that can, people who could afford to spend $100,000 a year, but can we do this for the rest of the people who deserve it but can't afford to spend that much?
Yeah, no, I love them. I go to one out here, and I'd rather support a local business than like a huge hospital chain that they don't care about you.
Yeah, unfortunately, hospital chains just don't have the tools to do some of the things that we want to do too. They're slow to progress. They say in medicine that it takes 17 years before something is, proven to be true before it's adopted as a standard of care. So before, it takes 17 years
that's long.
Before we say, hey, this therapy is effective or this protocol is effective or whatever it is, before all doctors are like, oh yes, that's effective and let's do it. So it's a very slow, it's like the Titanic. It's a very slow ship and not nimble at all.
Yeah. Why do you think it's so long?
I think part of it is just the education process. And I think it's getting faster, but in the past, the way doctors were trained is you learned from the doctors who trained you and you learned during residency, which is 3 to 5 years. And then after that, you still sort of learn, but you don't really learn as much, after residency.
Right.
And so I think that's part of the problem. And then also hospitals, are there a lot of politics. It's very bureaucratic. It's very difficult to, adapt new things, and be nimble and quick. So I think that's another problem as well.
Yeah. I hope one day they can integrate more holistic Eastern stuff. I don't know if we'll ever get to that point though, because pharmaceutical money is insane.
It is. And certainly the studies on, on the less pharmaceutical options, supplements and things like that, there just aren't as good as studies because there's not as much money to do the studies. And so I think that's definitely a hurdle to the holistic or the less pharmaceutical, world.
Yeah. Did you see they just turned down the MDMA study yesterday?
I did.
I was disappointed with that.
I know, me too. And they just changed the guidelines for vitamin D testing. They used to say everyone should get their levels checked because vitamin D is really important, as you know. And now they're saying that you shouldn't check those levels unless you're like over age 75.
What?
I think, or pregnant. Like they completely changed the guidelines. And so insurance will probably not cover that anymore.
Oh my God.
Which is ridiculous because vitamin D is both a hormone and a vitamin, and it's involved in, hundreds or thousands of reactions in your body.
It's one of the most important ones, if not the most.
It's one of the most important ones. And most people are deficient in vitamin D despite having, the sun where we always protect ourselves and we stay inside in our cubicles and we don't get outside. And so it's really disappointing that that's happening.
That was a wake up call for me because I'm in Vegas. There's a lot of sun here. I eat very healthy and I was deficient. So I'd imagine a lot of people are deficient.
Yes.
And every blood test I've had, I've been deficient actually.
Really? Yeah. You got to take some vitamin D.
I might have to.
Yeah.
How much do you actually absorb of that, you think, though?
It's usually pretty well absorbed. There's all different ways to take it, but it's an easy one to take, and you can check your levels and see if it's working or not.
Okay. Yeah, I try to eat naturally, but now the food's losing nutritional value every year. Like, I remember when I was a kid, strawberries and vegetables tasted so good.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't hit the same.
Yep.
It's crazy.
It is.
I don't know what's happening with the soil or whatever, but it's concerning.
Think a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah. It sucks. Third company you got going on is Reputable.
Yeah, Reputable is a fun one for all your business owner people out there. We are a B2B business. I'm a co-founder, and we're a tech platform for people in the health and wellness space who want to run almost like pseudo clinical studies or experiments with people using all of their wearable data and getting quantified information about how their supplement or device or whatever it is affecting people. And so you can essentially run these very inexpensive studies, but get very specific quantifiable information from them.
That's great because there's certain supplements I want to buy, but I don't know how effective they are. Exactly. But if I saw a study on 1,000 people, 100 people, that'd be really good.
And you can pin and the businesses that want to do it, you essentially say, I want to do a study that's this big, and you pay a much smaller amount than you would if you're going to a university and doing it. It's not the same kind of study, but we essentially get real people, real world data. You get all their wearables in sync, and you can look at things like HRV and their sleep studies and their all the different things that you can find from wearables. You can target all of those things and then use AI to interpret what all that means.
Yeah. Are you using any wearables or AI right now for your health?
I use the Oura Ring,
Nice.
sort of. I don't always look at it, but sometimes I look at it whenever I feel like I need to tell me something good, but I don't always agree with it. So
really,
sometimes it tells me you slept really well last night. I'm like, no, I didn't. I was up all night, or vice versa. But yeah, I use Oura a lot. I think it's the only wearable right now that I'm using.
Okay. The future of AI in health is fascinating. How it can detect cancer super early and all that. I just read Tony Robbins' book on that, Life Force.
There's so many uses for it. And, and with Humanot, this clinic that I'm building, we're trying to train all these, eventually these medical providers, these nurse practitioners and doctors and all of these with these protocols that we've been working on for 6 months. And, how do you train someone in a couple of weeks or a couple of months? And, AI will come in handy because we can start to build these protocols into algorithms and flows and things that can help our staff and also help patients down the line.
I love that. Dr. Amy, it's been great. Where can people find you?
So I'm at dramykillen.com. That's my website. I'm very active on Instagram, Dr. Amy B. Killen, and then Hotbox, hopbox.com, and Humanot Health, like astronaut with humans. Humanot.health.com is that one. And then Reputable.health. I have a lot of websites.
Yeah, you do. We'll try to link them all below.
Thanks
for coming on. Thanks for watching, guys. Check out the sites. See you next time.